Another episode of Polytalks, and today we will be discussing the 2024 United States House of Representatives elections. It is no longer 2022, and we all saw what happened in those elections. Republicans won a narrow majority in the House, although emphasis on the narrow here. Now, as we head into 2024, of course, the main focus for Democrats will be on defending the Senate majority, but we also cannot overstate how important the House elections are this cycle as well. And I think, as it was discussed today, Democrats will certainly be looking and potentially be even hoping to win a House majority through these elections, and I will explain why shortly. So, we can see in this article that Speaker McCarthy and probably Democrats are already gearing up for these races, and that is simply because they are very pivotal. And this is an election where Democrats could certainly win a majority, but Republicans could also certainly even expand on their majority. Now, in 2022, what we saw was a very interesting kind of dichotomy of results. We saw, on the one hand, Democrats winning in shock districts or coming close. We saw Democrats win in Alaska at large. We saw Democrats win in Washington's 3rd district, which was widely expected to go to Republicans. We saw them do well in several rural districts. We saw them nearly take out Lauren Boebert in Colorado's 3rd district, which would have been one of the greatest upsets in modern political history. And and the candidate in that race, whose name evades me, they were extremely close, in the order of 0.4%, and an automatic recount away from clinching that seat and defeating Lauren Boebert in one of the reddest parts of Colorado. However, on the other end, Democrats absolutely dropped the ball in New York, with many seats expected widely to go to Democrats falling in the Republican category, and this was simply a very, very poor election cycle for Democrats in New York. And what makes it all the worse is that if Democrats got their act together in New York, there's a very good chance that Democrats would be holding on to the House majority right now, or at least be in a much better position, potentially even a seat or two away for striking distance in 2024. So, what we can see in 2024 is Democrats may struggle in some of these, we can call them fluke districts, won in 2022, like Washington's 3rd district. I actually do not think they will struggle in Alaska. I think Mary Patola is one of the best candidates they could ask for, and that is that. But in many of these districts, I do not expect to see the same performance by Democrats. However, an interesting opportunity is New York. Now, generally, if you see a party do much worse and much more poorly than expected in an election cycle, then typically the next election cycle they have many more opportunities to win and gain seats. So that will be the case with New York. And if Democrats can achieve a substantial portion of seats in New York and elsewhere that they could have won in 2022, because keep in mind, this is the first election in 4 years now where we don't have a change in redistricting, so this is the same map as last year, and the fact that it's a baseline for maps that were largely expected to be much less favorable towards Democrats because of the redistricting, then that is a great baseline for Democrats to have only lost the House by 10 seats, because they can certainly win that back this year, or should I say 2024, with better results in New York and many other states in which they should have won in 2022. And so, having that said, I do think Democrats have a great chance, perhaps even the greatest chance, of winning the House in 2024, just purely off the fact that Republicans are defending many seats that they probably shouldn't have won, or that they got lucky to win, although the same can be said for Democrats. So what I ultimately expect this election cycle is we won't see much change, but the change that we do see will be significant. Democrats only need to win 6 seats, and they will have won the 2022 House majority, and that is a massive That is a massive statement right there because Democrats are, and actually they only need 5 seats because one of these seats is the seat of former Representative Donald McEachin, who unfortunately and sadly died last year. So that will be filled in a special election. It's a heavily Democratic district. So Democrats, in effect, only need 5 seats this cycle to win the majority, and all 5 seats could come from New York. And that is significant because Republicans may end up losing the House this year based on the results of only a few seats. So, coming into the cycle, I have said the most I can on this, but what I will say is Republicans should be worried. Democrats may be in a bad position Senate wise, but they could make uh, a serious gains in the House, especially if Trump is running again and the Democratic nominee has strong coattails, which could potentially fuel uh, better results in states like New York due to single ticket voting or straight voting, which is essentially voting for the same presidential candidate as down ballot races. So if we see a lot of that in New York, because keep in mind, and California, some of these districts Biden won by double digits, then I think my prediction right now is that Democrats pull together a very narrow House majority. So that is something to keep in mind as we head into 2024. It is by no means a given, but Democrats should be, frankly, quite optimistic considering their much better than expected House performance in 2022 that they can potentially do the same as in 2018 and capture the House this cycle, which will be a monumental victory for Democrats, even if they should lose the Senate or even, frankly, the presidency. Because in this modern political era, only one chamber of Congress or the presidency needs to be in the hands of the opposite party for governing to be ground to a halt. Because if Republicans are to gain a governing trifecta, they need all three. Well, they need 2 branches of Congress and the presidency. And if Democrats put up a strong showing and win the House, that, of course, cannot happen. Of course, the same could be said about the Senate, which is why my prediction for this year is Democratic Senate, Republican House, and the presidency. Well, that's much more difficult to characterize at this time, but I certainly think we will be seeing more divided government in 2024, and I can potentially discuss the effects of that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching, and that concludes our video for today and our analysis. Thank you very much, and I will see you in a future video. Bye.